This is Timaru, 160 kilometres south of Christchurch. The town is built on the rolling hills created when Mount Horrible erupted thousands of years ago. The area was settled by Māori from the 15th century, with the European settlement from the 1840s, and has been the heart of the South Canterbury region and economy since then. Caroline Bay is the hub of summer fun in the city. To the north, the racetrack at Levels has been the home of motorsports for 50 years.
This is where I grew up, this is where I learnt to drive, it's where I did my first events, probably where I had my first crash. So there's a lot of special memories out on these roads, and it's just nice to come back and puts everything in perspective of where we've come from and where we are now, and makes you appreciate things a bit more.
I think Timaru probably has a love for motorsport with the racetrack so close by. It's got a huge history with motorsport, and it's had a lot of successful competitors come from here as well.
It's a motorsport town. I mean, Levels is historic. It's been around for donkey's years, and it's played a part. But you know, look at the names that have come out of here, the Leo Leonards of the world.
It's been 30 years since championship rallying was hosted by Timaru, but these open fast stages are a welcome change for the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship.
The roads, the public roads, are all pretty lightly gravelled and fast sweeping bends here with a lot of crests.
Lots of long straights, a lot more than I thought there'd be.
Yeah, grip levels will be consistent, I think, for everybody. But yeah, it's just trying to find that grip.
One thing for sure, this is going to be a great battle.
I scored my first win at Canterbury, and I'm determined to be on the podium this weekend.
From the first-time winner at Canterbury to the reigning champion.
I'm the defending New Zealand National Rally Champion. I'm going to keep everyone honest.
Let's not forget that Trans-Tasman tussle.
We've missed one event, but we're back for our home rally. Look out.
Look out, Hayden, I may be your mate, but I'm going to be a fierce competitor this weekend. I beat you last time out, but you know I'll be flying big guns again this time.
Rally Canterbury put up plenty of challenges as the forestry roads turned to mud. Ben Hunt barely got going before his engine let go. By stage 4 was Greg Murphy and Rana Horan neck and neck in the lead. Nathan Quinn was running in the Shamrock Motorsport Fiesta, and after a slow start, the Aussie champ started to find his straps. Meanwhile, Emma Gilmore was going nowhere with a blown front diff. Josh Marsden lost 2 minutes after hitting a rock on stage 2, but recovered to win all the remaining stages. On the final stage in the dark, Rana Horan spun, and Marsden took back the rally lead for his first rally win at his home event. So despite Padden missing the rally due to WRC commitments, he still leads the points, but Marsden is the big mover here. Early Saturday morning, and it's a frosty start for the crews as they prepare to leave Timaru. Andrew Hawkswood looks like he's in for a rough morning when his windscreen demister fails on the way to the start. As Padden leads them away, let's take a look at the day ahead. 11 stages with a total of 190 competitive kilometres. Stage 2 is the longest at 32 kilometres, and there are 2 services at Fairley.
Stage 1 is extremely fast. Stage 2, which is the power stage, it's a bit more flowing and it's good character. There is a lot of fast sections in it too, and you know, overall it's a really fast rally and probably not the most ideal one to be getting back into it, but looking forward to just getting back in the seat.
Stage 1, Lyle Dale, 15.45 kilometres, and the start will be right at dawn.
We saw in the reconnaissance there was a little bit of ice, waking up -2, -3 frost. So yeah, we have to be a little bit wary of that. A little bit dark, but when the road's straight, there's not much to look at anyway. So it's yeah, it'll be a nice fast start for the morning to wake us up.
And joining us for expert comments, Patrick Melly. Well, she's a frosty start here, mate.
Yes, Hayden will be a pioneer here on these roads this morning, and there's got to be ice here on these stages. It'll be interesting to see whether he can keep the tyres and also the brakes up to temperature when it's only 2 degrees outside.
Let's see what Padden's stage 1 time is. It's 7 minutes 06.8. Brendan Reeves looking to pick up where he left off in Coromandel in 2017.
The roads are super fast. To me, there's a lot of straight line stuff. It's not so flowing and a lot of crests, which is going to be tricky, especially early in the morning with the sun rising, getting in your eyes. And notes on one pass, riding them has been difficult as well.
So remember, this Mazda is a 1600cc car, which means it's got a lower weight limit than the larger 2-litre cars. But it'll be interesting to see whether that will count out the taller gearing some of the cars like Ben Hunt's Subaru will have in here.
Ben Hunt next up. Can he take advantage on these roads? That's the big question.
It's difficult here because it is pretty straight and then a corner and then straight and then a corner, so it's kind of, you know, it'll suit those guys that can get around the corner in an orderly fashion and then accelerate down the straight as quick as anyone. And you know, I do love the fast flowing stuff, but which it has got here, but some of it will be pretty challenging, I'd say.
And what about how Ben is trying to work both the tyres and the brakes here, Patrick?
Yeah, with such a cold start to the morning, compared to what these drivers will be used to, it's really important that you work the tyres and brakes hard to get them up to temperature.
Nathan Quinn, third New Zealand rally, third different car. But this one's got a bit of history.
Yes, this is David Holder's championship-winning car, and also an ex-Hayden Paddon car as well.
Whoa, lucky there, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be difficult for Nathan to get used to this car. It's not set up the same as an Evo 9 back home, so he's just going to have to work his way into it and hopefully keep it on the road.
Flat press to markers, 78 left.
Oh, and just look how hot those front brakes are compared to the rear. Quinny's definitely got some setup issues in this car.
Not surprising then, Quinn is 25 seconds off Paddon's pace. Now, Matt Summerfield had a bit of trouble at the start of the Canterbury rally, and he'll be looking for a good start here this morning. And that's exactly what he did. Second fastest to Paddon, just 6 seconds down. First time back on the stages for our reigning champion, Andrew Hawkswood.
I was here in 2006, I think was the last time. And, you know, I loved it back then, and just seeing from what I've seen today, you know, the crests and the high, certainly the high speed, it suits my, you know, I just prefer to be driving on these sorts of roads.
Yes, and I know every rally fan has been looking forward to some classic Hawkswood driving on these roads.
But that windscreen demisting issue eventually costing him 40 seconds through the second half of the stage. Josh Marsden next. He's our round 3 winner. Can he continue that momentum?
With it being a new rally, I think it just completely levels the playing field. The only advantage I would guess that someone might have would be, say, the likes of Hayden and Darren, who grew up on these roads, so the nature of the roads and the flow feels very familiar to them. But yeah, it's new stages to everyone, so it's a pretty level playing field.
200.
Oh, and Josh really looks like he's struggling for grip in this stage. It's possible that the frost has gotten worse in places as moisture refreezes, but also maybe not as much development with these MRF tyres in frosty conditions.
Darren Galbraith had put in long hours with his team to repair the Ranger Coatings Evo after the crash at Otago. His reward was a chance to drive on his home rally, 6th fastest on the opening stage. Emma Gilmore is now one of New Zealand's most experienced rally drivers. She'll need all of that skill here today.
For me, I suppose the biggest thing is having some sort of marker to, you know, a braking spot coming into it, because that's probably the most difficult thing. And that sort of, in some of those stages, that it's not necessarily a very slow corner though, so it's just gauging how much speed you really just need to knock off a bit just to get through that corner safely.
Rana Horan had led Rally Canterbury in the mud, but now the off-road champ had to deal with something new, a bit of the old ice. No problem for him though, 3rd fastest on the opening stage. And a welcome return for Richie Dalton and Dale Moscat. Both now recovered from their crash at Whangarei. Richie 7th fastest, tied with Brendan Reeves. Greg Murphy showing his pace at Canterbury was not a one-off. The Bathurst champ has made huge progress in his rallying driving this year. Showed here too, fourth fastest ahead of Ben Hunt. But spare a thought for Brian Green, caught out on the ice on stage 1. The veteran was actually lucky to keep it on the stage after rearranging this farm gate. Stage 2 Black Line Road, the longest of the day at 32.34 kilometres. And our power stage. The sun is coming up, but not enough to melt the ice away.
And there's some spectacular scenery here, but all the drivers are going to see is the sun blinding them right in their eyes, and that's just going to make these tricky conditions even more difficult.
Crest, brake 50, fast half, 3 right, plus on.
And one thing to note here is just how much Hayden is working his tyres, moving that steering wheel around, and getting the heat up in them. It's just some sort of experience you can't pay for in this car.
Hayden, how the first 2 stages, have you found it?
There's a lot of ice. It's quite hairy in places, sheet ice, black ice. So yeah, you got to drive really carefully. And then of course with the cold temp, we can't get any tyre temperature at all. So yeah, it's very sketchy. So you just got to drive quite accordingly.
Now this is the power stage, remember. Patton has set the benchmark 14 minutes, 52.5. Brendan Reeves might be hoping for the frost to melt, or at least for Patton to break the ice ahead.
Yeah, but he's probably not that hopeful in this stage because that car sounds like it's missing. And hopefully it's not even more ominous than just a slightly slower time in this stage. And to top it off, look at how bad that sunstrike is in the car.
Brendan, Hayden's saying a lot of ice on the roads. How are you finding it? A little bit foreign to you, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I was really slow on the first stage. Just, didn't want to crash. There was one spot there in the first stage. Come out of a corner and we were so lucky because then it was ice on the straight, got on the throttle, hit the limiter, changed gear, hit the limiter. We pushed a bit more in that one, but the long straights, the Evos and that are going to eat us up, but we'll keep pushing on. It's all about getting to the end.
In a word, Ben Hunt, spectacular.
Yeah, Ben's got a huge amount of speed coming into this corner, and hopefully he can convert that speed into a stage win.
200, then 7 right, keep in 4 left in junction. Hang on. It's 7 right.
Little confusion here on the stage.
Now.
Oh, yeah. You said junction back there, though, but there wasn't a junction.
Well, that's what's in our notes.
Oh, yeah.
This is the bit we're up. Keep in bridge, 200.
But Hunt still manages second fastest time. Quinn still having brake issues, so the edge is off the Aussies challenge this morning.
Rough 450. Flat 8 left, 500.
Matt Summerfield, third fastest on the power stage, 2.2 seconds behind Hunt. Hawkswood really pushing here, making up 13 places after having to slow down on stage 1 for a fogging windscreen.
Classic Andrew, all or nothing style, no holds barred, beautiful to watch. And that's taking the cake.
Andrew, first event of the year for you. I know you're battling some window issues or some demisting issues. How have the first 2 stages been?
This is our demister. First stage was a disaster, but the second one seemed to be all right, so we didn't lose any time. Just the windscreen wipers have jammed on now, but doesn't seem to be our rally. But anyway, we're here.
Just remembering how to do this again?
Yeah.
Darren Galbraith, 6th fastest on the stage, so misses out on the final power stage point, but would move up to 5th overall.
Darren, you know these roads pretty well. How have you found them this morning?
Yeah, everyone keeps saying I know the roads, but I haven't been on them for 10 years. But honestly, that first stage was probably the least enjoyable stage I've ever driven. It was that slippery and hard to judge where the grip was, and I just tried to stay on the road basically. Patches of that are the same, so we're just here to have fun and survive today.
A couple of crucial moments for Emma Gilmore too on the stage. First a spin. That would cost her about 20 seconds. And then the slight misjudgment at the rough dry ford.
Oh, go Emma. That's a jump right out of Jigsaw Hazard.
And Rana Horan went from 3rd to 7th with a couple of spins on the stage.
Quick reactions though.
And he wasn't alone. Greg Murphy dropping 2 with this spin.
That was tricky because with the shade on the road, you just don't know how much ice, how slippery it is, and there was some pretty treacherous little parts to it. So taking it pretty easy.
So the power stage points go to Patton, Hunt, Summerfield, Reeves and Hawkswood. Coming up, can Hayden Patton be beaten on the South Canterbury stages? And we stop for coffee in Birch Pass. Welcome back to the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship. Stage 3 Upper Piora Gorge, just 13.7 kilometres before the first service. Hayden Patton having to use all his knowledge to stay on the road here though.
That's Slippy, half 3 right plus on.
Oh, Slippy's understatement. It's so Slippy's almost stopped.
Flat half 5 right plus 10.
Even right here at the end of the stage, it's still icy. The stage time, 6 minutes 53.9.
Drove properly when it's like this.
Matt Summerfield continuing a strong run, just 1.1 seconds slower than Patton. Ben Hunt currently 3rd. Can he challenge Summerfield?
Keeping 5 left, 3. Something wrong in the rear.
Drama though for Hunt at the end of the stage.
Finish and then 400. Is that finished? We haven't finished yet. We are now.
But he's actually gotten fastest by 2.3 seconds. Beats Patton for the first time in 2018. That's a hell of a moment. Now one of the challenges of stage 3 was a deep water rocky ford. Brendan Reeves approaching now, and Patrick, it's a real balance of speed versus care right here.
Yeah, most fords you need to balance it, but this ford, it's all about care. There is no speed going through that deep water.
Reeves stays in 4th behind Hunt. Darren Galbraith secure in 5th. But it's that man on the move, Andrew Hawkswood, the 2017 champion. He moved past Murphy on the stage up to 6th.
Andrew's using all of the road and more to drive this car, and he's obviously off the leash after winning the championship last year.
Greg Murphy still in the hunt though, but his car was wanting to swap ends.
100.
And that was enough to lose a place to Hawkswood. So heading to service, it's Patton 39 seconds ahead of Summerfield, then Hunt, Reeves and Galbraith. But as the drivers queue at the Fairley Domain, all the talk is about Ben Hunt on stage 3.
We struggled in the first stage a fair bit, but you know, got the car to where we want it now, and you know, really enjoying it. But you know, we've had the fuel pump out just at the outside of service there, so boys are going to change it quickly and hopefully get back out there for stage 4. So yeah, we'll just have to be a bit under the pump for the next 20 minutes.
Are you readjusting your goals at the moment?
Not at all. We're just driving sensibly at the moment, just driving to the conditions. So you know, we knew we're not going to win all the stages here. The stages are too fast for us. We're getting about 177 on the straights at the moment. So yeah, obviously a long way to go, but hopefully this sun comes out and the ice will start to thaw out.
A few little issues with the car, nothing that'll make a lot of time, just annoying things. So the boys are sorting that out now. We'll bleed the brakes and some new front Pirellis, and we'll go back out again and see what we can do.
The shackles released, we're going to see you sort of put it all on the line?
Oh, I need to, yeah. No, we'll have a crack on the next few, see how we go. We're just getting better and better, you know. We were 5th in the last, you know, the stage 2 and 4th in stage 3, so no, I'll keep climbing up, mate.
Well, Matt, second place after the first 3 stages. Everything looks like it's going pretty well for you this morning.
Yeah, definitely a vast improvement from the season so far. So we made a change for the night stages at Canterbury, and we've left it in the car. It's a stiffer rear roll bar, and it's just helping give me some confidence to turn into the corners.
After crashing out in Canterbury, Regan Rice had put his best escort bits into a spare car. But after all the hard work, he retired early with engine issues. That left John Silcock to lead the 2-wheel drives and the historic challenge through the morning. Robbie Stakes, making his second appearance this year in his new Fiesta, was immediately on the pace, beating the reigning 2-wheel drive champion Dylan Thompson on the stage. But Thompson took back the place to head Stokes in the first service. Dave Taylor in the Civic staying in touch in fourth over the morning stages. So it's Silcock and the Mazda making the best of these super fast stages, but a good battle for Class 2 behind. Now the cars head out of Fairley to the historic Burke's Pass and the Three Creeks Trading Post. Well worth a visit with its displays of old motoring memorabilia and great coffee. No time though for our drivers to stop though, as they head for Stage 4, Rollersby Valley. Now the stage has a very long straights, and this is where accurate pace notes will really help the drivers judge the distances at high speed.
You don't have so many linked corners. It's a fast section, one corner, fast section, one corner. So it's just about carrying the speed in those critical corners, but also a bit of commitment when it's a bit fast and flowing, and just having trust and faith, especially on the pace notes that we're riding on a one pass, to be committing to them at 200 plus or 190 plus kilometres an hour. That'll be the difficult thing.
And normal service resumes here with Patton winning the stage, but only 4 seconds ahead of Hunt.
And that's a fantastic performance by Ben Hunt. Both him and Hayden have got a clean set of notes with only one pass of recce, but Ben's showing he's got true pace here in this Subaru.
Keep in long 7 left, 120.
Plenty of experience here with Brendan Reeves and his sister Rhiannon Jalsamino. She and her husband Alex run a school for co-drivers in New Zealand, Australia, and of course the US.
Writing notes for this event's been very tricky because Rhiannon and I write them from scratch, and the long braking distances are difficult. So I'm trying to put landmarks in my notes. So I try and mark, say, 800 or 900 metres, then mark a landmark and 100 metres to the turn, because if you're flat out, you can brake 100 metres to a square left, in my mind. So that's what I've been trying to do.
6 right, opens fast.
But disaster here. Looks like Brendan is having to reset the car's computer.
6 right, opens fast.
And that would drop Reeves to 6th, while Darren Galbraith moves up to 3rd place. And more drama on the stage. Andrew Hawkswood will move up to 4th, but that's because he caught and passed Matt Summerfield on the stage.
And Matt's going really slow here. He's got no power in the car, probably lost a boost hose or something. It's going to be a massive time loss.
Greg Murphy also on the move up to 5th, just 3.9 seconds behind Hawkswood and 4.6 seconds ahead of Reeves. So it's a Mazda sandwich with a Holden filling. Rana Horan recovering from his ice-capades, just 5 seconds behind Reeves in 7th. And Josh Marsden just 4.2 seconds back in 8th. In fact, Marsden would move ahead of Richie Dalton on the stage, but only by half a second.
And that's a fantastic result for Richie so far. Getting back in this car after such a huge smack at Whangarei, he's doing a really good job in these fast roads.
So just 38 seconds separating 3rd to 10th place now as we head to Stage 5, Andrew's Playground, named after the late Andrew Grundy, winner of the Silver Fern Rally. And what a magic piece of road this is here.
Oh, this is a great combination of iconic New Zealand South Island Rally roads and iconic throwing the car around.
Hayden, now how are you finding this loop, mate?
This one here is better. There's a few more corners in this one, so we can start to drive the car, but the previous one, it's a bit of a pointless stage, and we're just basically trying to look after the engine, not blow up the engine. So we're just really struggling engine-wise at the moment. But this was enjoyable. The ice is sort of gone now in a few more corners, so now you can get your teeth into these sort of stages.
Well, it seems like there may actually be a chink in the Hayden pattern armour. His 1800cc engine working overtime on the long straights. So can Ben Hunt take advantage?
Yeah, well, the production-based cars like Ben's Subaru and the Mitsubishis have a taller final gear and, of course, a torquier, bigger 2-litre turbo engine. So there's definitely an advantage on the long straights if they can get through the corners as fast as Hayden.
Pattern stage time, 8 minutes 25.5. And as you can see, he's already slower, so what time can he do?
200.
8:44.9, that's surprising.
You know, all the stages are blooming fast, and hopefully we got some fantastic footage for Volt TV in the middle of that stage. You know, there was a lovely bit of road through the middle, and thankfully there was a camera there. So, you know, we're top gear and, you know, running quite wide and using all the road, but, you know, it's fantastic roads and having a ball.
Galbraith holding on to third, but he lost 16 seconds to Hunt here.
Last two stages were the best for us. We got more grip now. I don't know if it was the tyre wasn't getting hot enough before, but we had no confidence in the car. So those last two were really good for us. So we were able to push on a little bit, but still had a bit of fun.
Also pushing on, an impressive comeback for Andrew Hawkswood, now up to fourth.
Yeah, and Andrew's either been spending a lot of time in the rally simulator or he's just going for it, because this is a fantastic job by Andrew. He's using all the road.
And some.
Man, I just had one of the luckiest moments of my life, man. We was just off for so long and just gathered it up and got back on. So, you know, we've got a bit of good luck coming our way at the moment.
Greg Murphy in fifth, but still struggling with another spin.
60. It's a funny spin to have in that car. There's something not handling right in the rear of that Holden.
Brendan Reeves still having issues too with the car, engine cutting out, but absolutely charging for the rest of the time.
Oh, Brendo will be absolutely frustrated here. You have to be careful not to throw it away, but he would have really wanted to duke it out with Hayden on these stages.
So how much time has he lost?
50. Bridge 100.
Not bad, just 30 seconds down on pattern despite the issues.
We had a bit of an electrical fault, so the car was running really rough, really slow, and then we reset the ECU after that, or turned the kill switch off, and it was good for 3/4 of that one. Then it did it again when we come up the crest on the tarmac, so we turned it off in the stage, back on while we were moving, and it cleared up again. So the boys should be able to reset that at service, hopefully.
Emma Gilmore has been as low as 12th place in the morning, but third fastest on this stage would move her to 9th, ahead of Nathan Quinn.
And Emma's just obviously enjoying these roads more and more as the day's getting warmer and the ice is clearing away and the roads are more predictable.
Now Quinn had tried really hard to fix the brake issue at service and was showing improved speed.
Here, short 7 right to top, tightens 30, 5 right, hold it drive.
And you can see Quinny's driver's windows popped out there, which must be a major distraction, but not as distracting as that noise coming from the rear.
Flat rail 100, cut 7 left.
Coming up, it's a Mazda attack in the Gold Rally Challenge, and later it's time to attack at Levels Raceway. This is Stadium Finance Rally South Canterbury, Stage 6 Spur Road, and the weather is sunny and clear for the afternoon.
And if we thought Stage 5 was iconic, check this out.
Slippy. 100. Down, fast, 4 left, cut. 20. Slide half 4 right, minus opens.
Pattern's time, 6 minutes 43. Now, Ben Hunt had his fuel pump fail in service. That turned out to be a lucky break as he lost no time repairing it during the service, but he was lucky not to lose this time on the stage.
Ooh, he's lucky there. And Ben's proving the fact that at this rally, there's a lot more room than you'd have normally because everyone's using more road than they should.
So it's a lot more forgiving. Darren Galbraith still holding third, edging that advantage to Hawkswood to 10.8 seconds. This battle for third place now a 7-way battle with only 40 seconds between third and 10th place. Hawkswood really pushing hard here. Oh, and he just keeps it on the road.
Same place, not so forgiving.
Brendan Reeves running with no issues on the stage, now closing to fourth, 1 second behind Hawkswood. Greg Murphy another 4.3 seconds back in sixth now. His co-driver Mark Leonard is from Timaru, grew up on these roads as a young rally driver himself, so plenty of local advice coming from him.
And you know, as a driver, you could be forgiven for taking your eyes off the road for a moment to look at this beautiful scenery at Rally South Canterbury.
And she's from the south, so knows all about this sort of stuff. Emma Gilmore second fastest on the stage. That would move her past Marsden and Dalton to 7th overall.
6 right tarmac, 40 braking, short 4 left.
Emma's obviously trying here.
So heading to service 2 at Fairley, Padden extending his lead to 1 minute 27, Hunt with a minute buffer to Galbraith.
Yeah, a whole lot of short stages to finish through the afternoon now. I mean, what are they like? Are they, again, fast, much what we've seen this morning?
Yeah, quite fast. A few more corners, a few more junctions and that, so I quite enjoy them. The last one's actually probably the most spectacular stage of the rally. The first part is like Finland rolling over the crests and little jumps and things, so nice. And then, of course, the racetrack will be, it won't be straightforward at the racetrack. Going around one direction, we have to look after fuel surge and oil surge and things like this.
Those last 3 stages were probably, pretty fantastic compared to anything in New Zealand. Like they had a bit of everything in them, and great surface, and love them. So had a few little moments in there, but when you're having a bit of a crack, then you get that, and we're definitely using all the road. But really looking forward to heading to these next ones and then putting on a bit of a show at Levels Raceway this afternoon.
Nathan, it appears to have been a character-building sort of day for you so far. Some dramas all the way through.
Yeah, well, the first corner in the very first stage was the first corner I'd really driven in the car, and I arrived there and it locked the rear brakes and started to spin, and we weren't slowing down, so we had to straighten it up and go straight on. We were extremely lucky.
Not so lucky, drama for Ben Hunt as they were leaving service.
Unfortunately, we've just lost power supply to the fuel pump, so it's the second fuel pump we've had in the car today, and we just thought it was the fuel pump had seized earlier this morning, so it's turned out it hasn't, so we're just quickly rewiring it, so it's just going to have a straight power feed now, just 12 volts from the battery direct, and then we'll get back out there.
John Silcock continued to dominate the New Zealand two-wheel drive in his historic Group B RX-7. These roads and conditions well suited to this powerful car.
Well, it's been one of those treacherous mornings, all the ice. We haven't enjoyed that too much, but we're here to tell the story and halfway through the rally.
While the Fiestas can be quicker in the tight stages, this was not the case today. Robbie Stokes lost a minute to Thompson on stage 4 and had to fight to get that time back over the next 3 stages. Thompson was consistent though, and despite a lack of horsepower, he was able to stay in front in Class 2. Dave Taylor had moved ahead of Stokes on stage 4, and the Honda was proving to be fast on these roads. He kept his place and in fact was 14 seconds ahead of Stokes by service 2. Rounding out the two-wheel drives, new to the championship Darren Keane in a 1600cc Corolla. Stage 7 was disaster for Ben Hunt. The car stopping at the start of the stage, he would lose 30 minutes and drop to last. Stage 8, Hall Road, one of the longest at 25.8 kilometres. The stage more undulating and with more corners, something which would suit Paddon's i30 AP4 Hyundai.
Opens flat. 120.
You hear the heavy gravel there, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to worry Hayden here.
And with Hunt out of the picture, Brendan Reeves will now inherit second place, but he was now over 3 minutes behind Paddon. And after continuous pressure all day, Hawkeswood finally got past Galbraith to take third. Now just 8 seconds down on second place Reeves.
Both of these Mazdas have done a fantastic job to fight themselves up to the front, with just a short, narrow gap between them.
Galbraith 13 seconds back in fourth, but the big move was coming from Emma Gilmore. She'd moved from 7th to 5th and was now 16 seconds away from Galbraith, and only 38 seconds off second place Reeves.
Ooh. Ooh. That was a bit of a hang on and pray moment, but Emma did a bloody good job to hold on to that.
Nathan Quinn had also improved. He was just 1.3 seconds back from Gilmore. It seemed that these two, in battling each other, had pushed themselves back into contention. On stage 3, they'd been virtually tied in 11th place. Josh Marsden also very much part of this battle, just 1.3 seconds back, so less than 3 seconds separating 3 drivers in the battle for 5th.
That's only 38 seconds from Reeves in second all the way through to 7th.
Holy dead. Flat crest 100, cross crest, short 6 left plus.
And in 8th place, Richie Dalton, also in touch, 17 seconds back.
Remember that Richie hasn't actually completed a rally in this car, so he'll be counting down the stages. Only 3 more to go. Come on, mate.
280. Tar, then sudden turn 4 right, tightens 3.
Stage 9, Fletcher Road, and a big crowd of Paddon fans turning out to cheer on their local hero, and he didn't disappoint.
Look at the dust coming off the back of it as that car throws itself through the corner. The conditions have really changed in the course of a couple of stages here on this rally.
That 6-step minute, don't.
And Hayden's taking full advantage.
Turn hook fast, 5-step minus wide.
Brendan Reeves and Andrew Hawkeswood making a big statement too in the Force Motorsport Mazda team, both making their first appearance for 2018 here, and both now battling for second place.
7 plus right. 30, slippy
And
to
there's
the
that
handbrake.
Brendan cracking under the pressure. Oh, he's off again.
Remember that Hawkeswood had been just 8 seconds behind.
Oh, Andrew's in the drain, but that's pretty normal.
Brendan, you've managed to inherit the second place. I think the other guys are still breathing down your neck. How do you sort of feel and how do you approach these last couple of stages?
Yeah, we cracked under pressure in that one. There was a real icy hidden corner into a hairpin, and we come through it. I thought the speed was fine, but the car just took off. We got it to turn around and we slid onto the grass, stalled, got it going, and then one of the spectator points on top of the hill, we lost quite a lot of time as well. So hopefully, and then there's the boss behind me giving me a nudge.
Andrew, a little love nudge for your mate up the road there. I think you might have caught him in terms of the overall standings too. You might be up to second, I think we've figured out.
Oh, really? Did someone went off in there? Was that Brendo? Oh, okay. No, I was just reminding him I was behind him. I didn't know that it was him that had gone off.
Now the positions may have changed on the podium, but the pressure was still on for 5th place. Galbraith in 4th and had Gilmore just 8 seconds back. The Suzuki driver wasn't backing off at all despite a few wild moments.
Ooh, it's slippery there, and it must have been a bit of ice on that stage. Even mid-afternoon, it's still slippery conditions out there.
Nathan Quinn dropped a few seconds to Gilmore when he went wide and had to wrestle the car back onto the road.
Flat left. 250 and 6 left past Mail.
Greg Murphy pulled out here with fuel issues, leaving Josh Marston in 7th.
And Josh was outstanding at Rally Canterbury, winning all but one stage in the mud. But here in Timaru, he struggled a bit with the ice. He's really had to fight for position.
So a nice Ford versus Holden battle developing on gravel here too, with Richie Dalton now just 9 seconds behind.
Yeah, and as everyone in New Zealand and Australia will know, the battles between Fords and Holdens on track are legendary.
So let's see what's going to happen when they hit the track at Levels Raceways. We continue with Stadium Finance Rally of South Canterbury. Now, the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship has hosted drivers from Australia, the UK, Ireland and the USA. But this year, Eugene Crugenet from New Caledonia adds some French flair to the Gall Rally Challenge.
Depuis 1994, nous venons voir les rallyes WRC en Nouvelle-Zélande. Et nous avons grand plaisir à voir ces belles routes, c'est fantastique. Et l'envie a toujours été depuis la première fois. Et nous n'avons pas les moyens. Et il ne faut pas désespérer parce que voilà, en 2018, on peut venir jouer sur vos routes. Alors c'est une voiture que j'ai rachetée à Nouméa, qui vient de Nouvelle-Zélande. Elle est assez performante. Chez Team Rally Art avec Choice, la voiture a été reconditionnée, un peu boostée. Et on tourne à 400 et quelques chevaux. Et une bonne boîte de vitesse et la voiture est très bonne. La concurrence, elle est difficile en Nouvelle-Zélande parce qu'il y a de très bons pilotes et de très bonnes voitures. Et les routes sont difficiles pour nous parce qu'on ne les connaît pas assez. Et on n'a pas une grande expérience de rouler à la note en Nouvelle-Calédonie. Donc c'est difficile pour nous en Nouvelle-Zélande de rouler à la note, mais on fait du mieux qu'on peut et on est venu en même temps ici pour se faire plaisir. Mais le niveau néo-zélandais est très, très bon.
21 entries in the Gull Rally Challenge, making this one of the best entries so far. In the four-wheel drive division, it was New Caledonia's Eugene Crugenet who led on stage 1. But over the next 5 stages, it would be Clinton Cunningham and Crugenet swapping the lead and actually being tied for first on stage 4 and 5 until Cunningham struck issues and retired. Gareth Thomas secured second in class with a good comeback drive after his crash in Canterbury. Richard Bateman was also using his other older Evo 9 after heavily damaging his lightweight Evo against a tree in Canterbury. Scott Jones, Leon Stiles and Brindley Smith battled throughout the day. Jones staying ahead to take 4th. Stiles faced a strong challenge from Smith over the final 3 stages, but kept ahead while Smith scored his first finish of the season. However, the overall winner of the challenge at this rally came from the two-wheel drive class, with Marcus Van Cleek's RX-8 Mazda proving to be the perfect car on these stages. In fact, Van Cleek finished 10th overall in the rally. Dean Buist had his escort for this rally and challenged Van Cleek on the morning stages, but couldn't match his pace in the afternoon. Dave Strong brought his Honda Civic to Timaru and provided close competition with the Lancer of Graham Cowie until he broke a drive shaft and retired at the lunch break, leaving Cowie to 3rd in the class ahead of Andy Martin in his RX-3. In the Group A Challenge, rally sponsor Tony Gosling was a clear winner in his legacy, but not without some drama.
Let's go. 12.50. Keep going. How fast are we going? 2:08. There it is. Whoa.
Van Klick's performance earning him the Gold Force Pro Fuels bonus. The points for the Gold Challenge sees Crugenet take the lead over Van Klink, while Leon Stiles closing in on Blackberry. The final gravel stage, and by all accounts stage 10, was the best of the day. Nearly 15 kilometres overlooked by the snowy Alps on the perfect winter's day.
And it's always a good sign when a car comes into view sideways like that. Let's just sit back and watch the magic.
Stage time 7 minutes 0.1. Despite fooling around at the end of stage 9, no team orders for Force Motorsport, so Brendan Reeves free to challenge the boss on the final gravel stage.
This blue Mazda AP4 is the pinnacle of AP4 development here in New Zealand. Fully compliant to run at events like WRC Rally Australia, it is a Mazda direct injection 1600 turbo engine developed by Force Motorsports in Auckland. And Brendan Reeves is one of the most exciting young prospects in Australian rallying. Surely he can beat the boss here.
Of course, the boss is Andrew Hawkswood, the former wild child of New Zealand rallying. Took until 2017 to finally win his first Gold Star Rally Championship. This car a little older, but like the driver, Patrick.
Yeah, but this car is still fast. 7:14 for Reeves. What can the boss do?
7:21.1, that put Reeves back into second. Galbraith now said at the rally start he just wanted to get out and have some fun. Well, fourth place in his home rally. Looks like he's had a bit of fun today. Emma Gilmore has fought back over the afternoon. She's within 6 seconds of that fourth spot.
Emma was worried at the start of this event that the 1600cc cars would be at a disadvantage on these fast open roads. But if you take Paddon out of the equation, this has been one of the closest top 8 battles all year.
And it's also been an impressive performance for the Aussie champion Quinn. 6th and still within 6 seconds of Gilmore.
And Nathan was hunting for a car and managed to put this deal together at the last minute with some local support. But he hadn't driven the car before the start, and despite a few brake issues in the morning, he's really kept up with the competition.
Josh Marsden may be a little disappointed after winning in the Forest of Canterbury, but 7th place points will be valuable in his championship challenge here. And for Richie Dalton, a confidence boost after that crash in round 2 to reach the end of the stages in 8th overall. Spectacular but sensible driving by John Silcock netted him the historic challenge win and the points lead. Dylan Thompson also sensible in the Class 2 lead. He realised early on that there was no point chasing outright two-wheel drive victory on these stages and went for the points. Robbie Stokes fought back in the afternoon to pass Taylor and take back second in Class 2. Taylor just outpaced by the Fiestas when it came to the afternoon stages. And Darren Keane, the final finisher in the class on debut. Stage 11 for some fun laps around the historic Levels Raceway, which celebrated its 50th birthday in 2018. 4 laps around the track, so definitely long enough to lose time if something goes wrong.
Yeah, but I think Hayden's probably built up enough of a buffer over this event that he won't lose the rally if he has a terrible performance here.
Brendan Reeves would have to defend a 0.9 second lead at this stage to hold on to second. Hawkswood will be going all out here, won't want to lose to the Aussie boy.
Oh no, Reeves is slowing here. Yes, there goes Patton. Oh, what a shame. This is not how the Mazda team would have wanted to finish, not how Brendo would have wanted to finish. Patton's just having fun now, on his way to victory and extending his championship lead.
So here comes the boss. So that's the pass, and Hawkeswood is now into second. What a day after being 21st on stage 1. Can you believe it? So with Reeves bleeding time, he would drop to 8th. Galbraith gets onto the podium at his home track. Emma Gilmore 4th, and with Galbraith and Hawkeswood not in the championship race, that's an important place for her. So confirming the results, Patton from Hawkeswood, Quinn only 1.5 seconds back in 5th.
Hayden, congratulations, 3 from 3 in a pretty dominant victory. How would you describe your feelings at the moment?
Oh, of course, very happy. It hasn't been straightforward today, obviously with the road conditions and the speed of the roads, just trying to look after the car, and the ice this morning made it so tricky for everybody, but obviously happy to get the result, and great work by the team. Car ran faultlessly, and pity for Ben and Matt. They were doing a great job. They deserve more than what they had, but nevertheless it's good for our championship.
So looking at the points, Patton's 32 points clear of Marsden, Hunt and Quinn, but remember all drivers dropped their worst round at the end of Rally Coromandel, so it's not over yet. And that's where we head next in August for the Gold Rush Rally of Coromandel. See you then.